Hey, how's it going today? It's Frankie here and I'm back with another movie review. And yes, it is another action movie. I was going to watch a horror movie, but I was a bit distracted during the day and, I didn't want to watch a horror movie at night. Call me a wimp all you want, but I kind of prefer watching horror movies during the day and action or comedy movies at night. I just feel like it makes more sense. It removes the scares that you watch in the horror movie and watch action and comedies can makes you feel a bit better, and that as such. So yeah, and this movie here that I'm going to do a review on, I'm not sure what I think of it. It's called One Shot, and I really don't know what to make of it. It's about these Navy SEALs that are trying to free a prisoner, basically. So they go in and prisoners, part of a terrorist or something like that, and yet they find out that there's research. What do you call that word? I don't know what word you call it. And then there's terrorist group that comes out, soldiers that come in and start attacking them. So yeah, the first 20 minutes is not really the best. I know I expect action movies to be too good straight away, and you got allowed to be a bit of talking into it, kind of because your introduction. You got allowed that a little bit. So it starts off by these soldiers, Navy SEALs, into a helicopter, and they're going into base camp basically. And then you see them in an office, and I think it's Jack's office. I think whoever's office is in, and Zoe and him have a confrontation or something like that. And then Zoe talks to something called Amin Mansour, something like that, and asking him questions, interrogating him, but it wasn't enough, and he said he didn't do it. And then these enemies start coming in and shooting at the gate, and they start shooting everywhere, and lots of guns firing. Not too bad, but action could have been a bit more intense in that one. And Jake goes in because Jake is played by Jake's character is played by Scott Adkins. I think I've watched the movie for this before. The name rings a bell. And then along with his soldiers, Brandon, Danny, Ash, and then Ash gets shot. They go into the small room, and then he passes out from the wound, and then they still interrogate Amin. Amin says this, his son is this and that. I mean, basically, he was getting interrogated by Zoe, because Zoe's part of the media or something like that. I'm not sure, but she's interrogates people, and then talking about an illegal shipping company or something like that. It's cargo, and there's a bomb in DC or something along those lines. And yeah, so interrogates, and then more enemies that come in. Brandon and Danny have to hold it down. I gotta say, Brandon was doing quite well with the shooting. I don't know how. I mean, if that wasn't, any sort of scenario, if that was me, I would have been shot already after the one hit. One bullet would scrape me and that's it, I'm already down. I could not withstand all this gunfire. And then Danny gets shot, and, I think he does, but he gets injured throughout anyway. I think he passes towards it anyway. But you know what I mean. And he gets too many of them, and I think Jake has to go through a vent. Excuse me. Jake has to go for a vent, and he drops and he sees these soldiers that group together. I don't know what the main two soldiers are called there, the enemy soldiers, because they get shown that some of them they were the bosses. One of them was the boss. I think a bodyguard. I don't know who they were. I think one of them, there was definitely one of them called oh my god, how can I forget that it Hazik? I don't even know who the name is. I kind of forgotten it already. I shouldn't do. And then and they take out these people that work at the base camp. And then I like this scene the most. I like this part where Jake goes and he knives all these enemies in this one entire building, small tiny area building or something like that. And then he gets this radio, and then he one of these people, as soon as he was about to get stabbed, Jack comes and I think Jack shoots him, and he's operates a radio. And then yes, that's where the end. There's a lot of enemy soldiers though. It's like these were very outnumbered. It was quite crazy, to be quite honest with you. After everything's been done there, they go back to the place that everybody else is at, and even more enemies come in. And then one of these dudes is strapped to a bomb, and it gets blown up, in that particular spot. I think Danny and Brandon just passes, gets shot, and then they die. And yeah, so everyone else is in the rubble. I think everybody is just practically gone anyway, apart from Jake. Scott Adkins. He's the main character. So he's gonna live anyways. And then yeah, so he lives, gets up and he sees like an ultra-scan photo of a baby. He asks Zoe, "What's this? Is the baby yours?" I mean, go. He didn't ask the baby was. He thought it was hers, and she was like, "No, it's not mine. It's Amin's baby. His wife's 16 weeks. I think she means 16 weeks due or 16 weeks gone, something like that. Anyway, I don't know on that one." And then she passed away from like a piece of like massive wood that goes in her. And then he goes through the vent after the prisoner just escapes. After he escapes. And these enemy terrorists come in. Like, I don't know what you call them. I don't want to keep using that T word in case YouTube kind of takes it down. But I'm describing the movie, YouTube, so don't take this video down for that word. It is a movie I'm describing. And yeah, so these episodes come in and they ask Tom, "Where is he? Where's the prisoner go? What's happening?" And then he said, "Oh, he told me everything." Shoots him. Then the enemy soldiers go back out. And then this is a particular spot. I don't usually talk about the camera angles in movies. I've never have. I don't think I ever spoke about it because the cameras for me are nothing special. But what I like about this was how they follow him to make it a bit more intense. Not gonna lie, some scenes are intense in this sort of movie. I mean, I give them that one. Some acting's good, but then there's acting that could have been a bit better. And it did say the set of it is the UK. I don't know if that's because this website's saying it, but most of the actors were American and the Navy SEALs related to more American, I think. Unless there's also, I think there might be British Navy SEALs. I'm not too sure, I'm not an expert on this, but a UK movie for the first time in a while, that's something new, but I'm pretty sure it must be more American somewhere. Anyways, we continue the movie. And then this is the thing that Amin does very stupid. He tries to escape and he dresses up as like, one of the soldiers. And he starts walking out. Now, you're going to get seen. The face there, you're going to get seen. I just don't understand what he was thinking. And then he gets taken and he gets put in like a cell. And then Jake comes in, attacks the bodyguard right there. Not bad fight scene, but I've seen better intense fight scenes in other movies than this. It just felt a bit like, it's just felt a bit too like tame for me. I need quite more, it's a bit cliche that, so a bit disappointed. But I kind of like the idea what they were going to there, and where they were going with that. And he opens the door, Amin comes out, and then this is the part I love is when Jake just takes nearly damn near everybody out of his pistol. It doesn't have to be the rifle. He's done that with the rifle. He used the pistol. Pow, 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 pow. I enjoyed that, to be fair. That was actually pretty good. I kind of like that. Again, bullets, guns. Movies like this, I've seen better explosions, better bullets. It wasn't powerful enough for me, to be honest. And yeah, and it is an okay movie. I'll give it to him. It is an okay movie. It's not terrible. It's just okay. And he comes in, and then I think one of the other bodyguard, I don't think I should call him bodyguard or not, when there's a bit of a fight. And, because the guy thought he shot Amin, but Amin still alive because he wears a bulletproof vest. Don't know how the guy didn't notice that. And then gets up with a lunch and he tries to escape after Jake has done, killing him. Killing the dude that was attacking him. And yeah, he said, just put the gun down, stop. And then towards the end, that did get, he was like, don't stop, you need to, you need to stop this, you need to know where the bomb is. And the guy kept denying it, obviously. He's going to deny it anyway. It's like, you need to bomb. And the guy said, you're lying. And then he was like, no, we're not lying, just calm down for a second. And then Jack says, you got to put the gun down. And he tries to convince Jack otherwise. And then the helicopter's coming. Typical movies, though, for backup to come at the wrong time. Out of all the other times, the backup came when everything was already over. Not over, but when everything was already just done. When all the enemies are cleared and already enough damage was done. So yeah, he walks off with the prisoner to help him out because they're going to DC. And yeah, it just ends right there. And the only way I did find that there was a part 2 to this because I did see something called One More Shot. And that's probably, it definitely is a part 2 to this because when I read it, it definitely sounded like it was continuing from this movie. So yeah, not what to make of it, I guess. I mean, there was one good, before I got into rating bit, there was one good piece of dialogue that I just, kind of found interesting when the guy did say Rasul was interrogating him. And then the guy said, your American Jones killed my people and I want to take revenge, or who's the real you-know-what here. And I kind of found that a bit like interesting, because usually wars can end up like that. So I found that interesting. I'm not going to get into that anyway. For the rating, wow, this is difficult. It definitely isn't above a 7. I'll give you that one. I was going to rate it a 5, but then they had some good action scenes that, you know, made it a bit tense. And then they had some good shooting scenes, you know. Especially with Scott's character, Jake. I feel like he was pivotal in that one. I think his acting was only the only type of acting that was better than every other person that was acting. So it's hard to rate this. It's either between it's either a 5 or a 7 or even a 6. This is very questionable, so I could totally understand if any of you gave it a 5 or a 6. I would say it's average at first, but then I kind of like the odd scenes. There wasn't really much to it. So you know what? Something's telling me to give this a 7. Something's forced me to give this a 7. Well, I don't know, 7 or 5. You know what? I'm gonna make up my mind on this. Yeah, it's difficult because it looked average, but there were some good scenes in it, and it left me in suspense towards the end. So you know what? The suspense at the end, and knowing there's another part to it, doesn't always contribute to a rating going up. But you know what? It's kind of interesting how the movie ended this. You know what? I'm going to be very generous. I'm going to give this a questionable 7. Now, you're free to give it whatever rating you like. It's not a good movie by any means. It's okay. So a 7 is okay, I guess. That's a tiny bit of a thumb up for me there. And the camera angles went too bad, making it a tiny bit tense. They tried, but yeah, you know what? Slightly above average, I think, because there's some good scenes there, which I think warrants it to be okay. That kind of say they didn't have. If he didn't have, if Jake wasn't the kind of character he wasn't, they had that many, you know, scenes in there, I would have probably given it lower. You know, if there wasn't if there wasn't that one scene of action, I probably would have given it a 5. Anyways, enough of me ranting. Yeah, 7 out of 10 it is. Remember, it's a questionable rating, so you know, I would totally understand if you gave it lower than that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment, share it with everyone you know, subscribe and hit the notification below. So see you in my next video.